Yesterday was a battle of the Blues. Today, it's a battle of the Reds. From Camden Athletic Complex in Camden, New Jersey, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting presents South Jersey Group 4 playoff baseball between the Cherry Hill East Cougars and the Vineland Fighting Clan. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dan Wilkins. This is going to be our first public high school playoff action of the season. We covered Donovan Catholic and Paul VI yesterday over in Haddonfield, with PVI taking a 4-1 win. But in this game, the stakes are a lot different, and the circumstances are certainly a lot more different than what we saw yesterday. A band of rain came by overnight, and we ended up seeing a lot of cancellations and postponements in the South Jersey scene. In fact, our original game, Morristown versus Cumberland, got pushed back to 1 o'clock tomorrow. And for viewers' sake, we are planning to still cover that game as scheduled in Seabrook. But for these two teams, this is a battle between one of South Jersey's biggest risers in the second half of the season and one of South Jersey's little bit of fallers. Vineland was 13-6 in the month of March and April. They're now 15-10, but they've only played 6 regular season games in the month of May, and only 3 of those 6 were regular contests. They wrapped up their Cape Atlantic American schedule on April the 30th, but they played 2 Diamond Classic games, one versus Shawnee and one versus Gloucester Catholic, and then they played in the Cape Atlantic semifinal, the conference tournament, versus Egg Harbor. So Vineland is going to need to ramp up their workload. I mean, to say the least, this is a good thing that they're playing today, because it's going to be very interesting to figure out how these two teams are going to navigate each other when they haven't played since 2024. But what I'll say about Cherry Hill East, they were 2-9 as of April 27th. In the month of May, they played 11 games, and they went 9-2 in those 11. And what's even more impressive for Cherry Hill East is that they had only 4 true home games. They did have a few as the home team. They played in the Lee Ware tournament at Woodstown, but that's a neutral site game. So for all intents and purposes, Cherry Hill East won 9 games in the month of May out of a possible 11, and 4 out of those 11 games were were at home. 7 of those 11 games were on the road. So Cherry Hill East has really surprised me. I thought that Jason Speller and those guys were going to miss the playoffs, and it was going to be a very difficult season for East, considering they have a very talented right-hander in which we will see tonight in Michael Pichetti. Pichetti, the right-hander, he's committed to Virginia Tech, and he's got over 170 strikeouts in his high school career. He picked up 66 this year as a junior. He had 62 last year as a sophomore. So right now, the biggest thing for Cherry Hill East is making sure that they ride off that good pitching. And Pichetti, of course, he's a good hitter as well. There's a reason why Jason Speller has him there in the lineup. But a little bit surprising for me, Vineland is not starting the dominant right-hander Mario Toro, who's headed to Rowan College. They're instead going with a sophomore in Belinda Townsend, who has done very well. He's thrown 37 innings this year, and he's got a sub-3 ERA. But I think the biggest thing for Vineland here is going to be keeping up with the pace. There's one team that has played many more games this month, this calendar month, than you have. There's a team that's won many more games this month than you have. But you can't let that get ahead of you. You're kind of playing a home game, and you're home away from home. This game was scheduled at Vineland High School, but we've covered many games at Vineland, and we know that field doesn't always hold the best amount of water. So the fact is, this is kind of a home away from home for Vineland, because they played their first round playoff game here last year as well. So the long story short, this is going to be a very exciting game, and we'll be looking forward to 7 innings of competitive Group 4 baseball this afternoon between the Cherry Hill East Cougars and the Vineland Fighting Clan, 11 versus 6, with a 5 o'clock first pitch on the way when we return.
From Rutgers Camden here in Camden, New Jersey, just beneath the Ben Franklin Bridge, we've got Cherry Hill East and Vineland in South Jersey Group 4 first-round play. Your starting pitcher for the home side. Yes, Vineland is the home team in a game where they're 45 minutes away from home, if not more. Valyn Townsend, the sophomore, is your starter. 37 innings, 18 walks, 53 Ks. 2.65 ERA and a 1.32 whip. He's also hitting in the lineup today as he is the pitcher and the designated hitter. He's batting .228 on the year. But what we can tell you about Townsend, this is his 9th appearance of the year. He last pitched on May the 20th versus Highland, threw 5 innings and struck out 9, which is tied for his season high. In fact, he struck out 9 batters on 3 different occasions, 1 versus West Deptford, 1 versus Shalleck, and 1 versus Highland. So all 3 have been in non-conference play. But let's take a look at what Jason Speller's got for the 13 and 11 Cherry Hill East Cougars. Your starting lineups are presented by Harper Driving School. For Cherry Hill East in the black and red, it's going to be Nate DeKerligan in right field. Rohan Mudathil in center field batting second. Michael Fichetti, the commit to Virginia Tech, is the third hitter and the pitcher. Dylan Haddock in left field batting cleanup. Brody Connors is your shortstop batting fifth. Ryan Moyer at first base batting sixth. Stephen Longo is your backstop batting seventh. Kyle Fisher, the DH, batting eighth. Another prolific tight end on that Cherry Hill East football team. Ryan Zwieben is the second baseman as we're going to get ready to go. Just a few minutes ahead of schedule here from Camden, Rutgers Camden Community Park. The first pitch from Townsend, the sophomore, is low. We are underway in playoff baseball. Time of first pitch, 4:58 p.m. Just 2 minutes ahead of schedule as that one's fouled back. It's 1-1. $80 degrees at first pitch today. A little bit humid, of course, coming back from the rain. DeKerligan, the younger brother of Brandon DeKerligan, who's now at Purdue. And a 2024 grad of East. He's batting .238 this season, 15 for 63 as a breaking ball misses, 2-1. DeKerligan has walked 17 times for East this year. That is the most on the team. Dylan Haddock has 13. Stephen Longo in the 7 slot has 10. 2-1. Trails inside from Townsend. And again, talking about Townsend, even though he's got over 50 strikeouts this season, he has walked a high rate of batters. So that's one thing you'll have to keep an eye on. But remember, Vineland is kind of used to this. They also played their first round playoff game last year on this field at Rutgers Camden as the 3-1 is outside. Corbin Chance didn't give him the spot, and that'll be a 5-pitch walk that sends up Rohan Mudathil for Cherry Hill East. So that's walk number 18 for DeKerligan as Speller and company get an early base runner here in the first round of South Jersey Group 4. But it goes without saying, a lot of cancellations today, a lot of postponements. Our game originally was Morristown-Cumberland. That got pushed back to 1 p.m. tomorrow. One ball, no strikes to Mudathil. Upstairs above the letters, 2-0. Decent mix of sun and clouds. Not too hot, not too cold here. And wind slightly blowing towards right field alongside the Delaware River. Townsend, the 2-0, with a runner on. Nods to his catcher and delivers. Fastball right down the pipe, 2-1. Two balls, one strike to Mudathil. Upstairs, called a strike, 2-2. Mudathil batting .291, 23 for 79. He's walked 7 times. 12 RBIs, a career .277 hitter. And he has hit safely in 4 out of his last 6 games. He had 3 RBIs in a 21-3 win for East over Bridgeton. That was a game where Bridgeton celebrated their 50th anniversary of their 1976 South Jersey Group 4 championship. Of course, we haven't gotten a chance to cover Bridgeton this year, but Mike Villela, just a fantastic individual. He's been with Bridgeton for 23 seasons since 2003. Throw back to first, not in time. That'll be 3 balls, 2 strikes to Mutathil. Ten of Mutathil's 12 RBIs this season have come in the month of May, as that one's fouled back. He had 2 versus Triton on May the 6th, 3 versus Washington Township in a 14-7 win. That was at the Lee Ware tournament at Woodstown High School. And in the on-deck circle for East will be Michael Facchetti, the Virginia Tech commit. Committed to VT as a sophomore. Late in his sophomore year, he struck out 62 as a sophomore. He's got 66 so far this season. And another foul back. Great job by Rohan to stay alive. I mean, that wasn't the prettiest swing right there, but he found a way to take a pitch that, honestly, if he had swung a little bit earlier, he might have been able to barrel that up. But he was instead able to make some kind of contact and keep the at-bat alive. This ball is poked into right field, straight away, going back, and that one will be caught in right field. Backpedaling on the play, but making it is Ernie Barnhart. And that's out number 1 for Michael Facchetti. I will say, it is a little bit odd being here at Rutgers Camden without speakers with music blaring in your ears, because that's how it usually is for Rutgers Camden games when we're here. But honestly, what makes this ballpark so nice is part of the ambience of it. You know, the fact that you can hear the train and the cars from overhead and some of the buses passing by and the hustle and bustle of one of New Jersey's most industrial cities in Camden, as Townsend drops in a curveball to Facchetti. It's a strike. It's 0-1 in the pitcher-pitcher battle. Throwback not in time. The 0-1. DeCurligan's not taking a huge lead off of first. But Facchetti, a .338 hitter, 1 home run, 5 extra base hits, 11 RBIs, and 26 for 77. .310 career hitter. Townsend, the 1-1. This one is laced up the middle. That'll get in the center field for a base hit. It's picked up. They'll throw back into the infield, but Facchetti's got a base hit, and that's going to be 2 on, 1 away now for Dylan Haddock. As Cherry Hill East looks to get ahead early here, and we will have a courtesy runner at first base. That will be number 6, Dustin Fischera. But a good crowd on hand forming here. Like we said, Cherry Hill East closer to Rutgers Camden than Vineland is. Vineland's got to travel between 45 minutes to an hour to get here. Really intriguing that they chose to play here. Maybe they explored looking at Rowan Cumberland, which is just a few minutes away from Vineland High School, maybe about 10 minutes. As a strike called. But the issue is that there's not that many turf fields in the area, and the ones that are usually a part of private facilities that host travel ball camps. This is the only turf field that I can think of in South Jersey that is a publicly owned property, as in the city of Camden owns it in partnership with Rutgers Camden. That one, oh wow, that one hit off the catcher's glove and it hit the umpire, so it didn't go all the way to the backstop, but both runners advance. So I mean, coming out now is there. I honestly think Townsend got his signs crossed here, because Isaiah Quinones came out and he had his arms up like, hey, what are we doing here? And now Vineland's pitching coach is going to come out as well. Vineland is led by head coach Kyle Jones, assisted by Seth Bermudez and Elvin Cortez. So with 2 runners in scoring position here for East, a very odd situation. Because like we said, that ball just skipped right off the glove of Quinones, and it actually hit the umpire in the thigh. But he was able to, I mean, the runners advanced, so it's not like it was a matter of the ball getting away, stopped East from running. But for East, a walk, a fly out to right, and a single have defined the first 3 batters of today's playoff game. 1 ball, 1 strike. Townsend dealing with 2 runners in scoring position for Cherry Hill East. And Haddock thought about it, but takes a strike. And it's 1-2. In the on-deck circle will be Brody Connors, the shortstop. One, 2. Another breaking ball off the plate there. 2-2. I'm a little bit surprised. First of all, I haven't seen Townsend pitch this year, but I'm quite surprised at how often he's using that curveball in power slot situations. Like, he's using it on the first pitch. He's using it on a 2-strike pitch. He's been using it on 3-2s. He's like an Alex Claudio guy, more comfortable with his curveball than with his fastball, which you don't see a lot of guys do. A lot of coaches like to stress fastball, 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 ramp up the velocity, but if you can dot a curveball on the outside part of the plate, that's going to rack up a lot of strikeouts, which is why both of these starters have 50-plus this season. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Haddock, the left fielder, in his crouch stance and time called at the plate. It's going to be one of those days, huh? Lots of step-offs, lots of pick-offs, and lots of time called. Yesterday's game was pretty quick, 2 hours, 14 minutes, with PVI's win over Donovan Catholic. Today, though, might not be the same. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Townsend looks over at third with nobody holding, and that one is upstairs at the neck, and it's 3-2. So tough situation here, because if you load the bases, you set up Brody Connors in the 5 slot, but I mean, that re-engages the double play ball, but you also really don't want the bases loaded at any point in a playoff game at all, especially in the first inning. As the 3-2. That ball is up, ball 4. And Townsend walks his second batter of the inning. He walked to Kurligan, and now he walks Haddock, and this sets up Brody Connors, the shortstop. With the bases loaded and 1 out for East in their black and red gradient tops. Townsend dealing with a hefty traffic jam. Here's the first pitch. That one's high. And that's what I've noticed here is you're noticing a lot of times with Townsend's fastball, he is missing high. He's not usually one to miss low. And watching his delivery, that's usually sometimes a release point issue, because Quinones is not setting his glove up high. He's setting it middle. And that breaking ball is a called strike. And that might be why Townsend is going with his curveball more. He seems a lot more confident in it. He seems like he's got a lot more control of that pitch. We've got a 1-1. Another curveball and a strike called. First 3 for Vineland in the bottom of the first. It'll be Dom Manzoni, the second baseman, CJ Santiago at first base, and Xavier Etheridge, the commit to Stockton, in the 3 slot. One ball, 2 strikes. With 1 away, bases loaded. In the on-deck circle will be Ryan Moyer, the first baseman for Cherry Hill East, as fastball fouled back over our heads and headed towards the street. One ball, 2 strikes. Townsend, the sophomore, trying to get his composure together here in such an important playoff game. Bases loaded, one away. Breaking ball, jam shot to third. Toro's got to play at the plate. The throw is low, but it is taken. Throw to first is well high. Now they're going to throw to the plate again. Trickery by East, and they score. Cherry Hill East gets a fielder's choice at the plate, but with Quinones' throw to first, East takes a gamble, and they just hit 777s. They score their first run of the game, and it comes on what is going to be scored as a 5-2-3-2 fielder's choice. Runners on second and first. How about that? So Connors makes it. DeCurligan was out at home, but Ficchetti's runner scored in Fischera. I don't use that term often, but it's a gutsy play. If that doesn't work, you get Vineland all of the momentum to end the inning with a double play at the plate. And you kind of make them look foolish with an aggressive send. One's fouled back. I remember watching the Phillies game the other night as it's 0-2. I remember watching the Phillies game the other night, and I thought to myself, I said, you know, that was a good move because it worked. If it didn't work, we would have been, you know, kind of railing against it. But because it did, we praise it. But Cherry Hill East gets away with one as Moyer, the first baseman, sits with an 0-2 count. Townsend delivers. Runner goes as this ball's cracked out to center field. It'll be straight away. No, this one's over his head. It was misplayed in center field. Moyer's going to get a 2-run double. He's not stopping. He'll go to third. He's safe. 2-run stand-up triple for Ryan Moyer. And Cherry Hill East jumps out to a 3-0 lead. It's ambition. It's ambition. It's exactly how you want to draw it up. Torres misplayed it in center field. I mean, you heard me. I thought it was just a standard play, but instead, this is the play at the plate. We'll take a look at it. But looks like it was straight away. Obviously out at home there. But remember, the second play at the plate is a tag play. I think he got in there. So 3-0 East. Time called by Corbin Chance. There was a baseball loose. Vineland already has a southpaw warming up in the bullpen. As the batter will now be Stephen Longo, the catcher, who wavers at one. It's 0-1. Strike call. It's 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. Menzoni, Santiago, and Etheridge as Cherry Hill East jumps out to a 3-0 lead in the first inning, and another ball gets away. That is the one disadvantage of this ballpark, is that the way that the bullpens are positioned. I really think that Rutgers Camden should provide L screens back behind the plate, or maybe the team should provide it, but it does inadvertently stop the game when a ball gets away from the bullpen and then it travels 200 feet down the line as that one's away. And remember, this isn't like a regular season game where you can let your pitcher ride for a little bit and deal with the consequences. In a playoff game, the consequence is that you're out of the playoffs and your season is over. So if Vineland's having trouble, they want to get their bullpen up and running early. This one's jammed. Back behind the plate. And Quinones makes the catch to retire the side. But 3 runs across, including a 2-run double to center field off the bat of Ryan Moyer. When we return, Vineland will take the at-bat, and it'll be 3-0 in favor of East. Welcome back. Your starting pitcher for Cherry Hill East, a commit to Virginia Tech, Michael Ficchetti. Over 170 strikeouts in his high school career, 47 2/3 for the junior. He's walked 11, struck out 66, 2.59 ERA, and a whip of just under 1 at a 0.97. Let's take a look at fifth-year head coach Kyle Jones and his starting lineup for Vineland. Starting lineups presented by Harper Driving School. For the Fighting Clan, it's Dom Manzoni at second base leading us off, CJ Santiago at first base. Batting second, Xavier Etheridge is the third batter in the lineup. He's a Stockton commit at the shortstop position. Mario Toro, committed to Rowan Gloucester, bats fourth and is the third baseman. Nathia Perez is the left fielder batting fifth. Valyn Townsend, the sophomore, is the pitcher and DH. Ernie Barnhart is the right fielder. Isaiah Quinones is the catcher, and it will be Nino Torres in center field leading us all. In the 9 slot, as there's a strike called. 0-1 to Manzoni. Oh, big swing and a miss. On a grass field, we would call that one that you leave for the worms, as it's 0-2. But I guess there's no worms on a turf field. Manzoni, a sophomore. Good night. 3-pitch strikeout for the .361 hitter. And Ficchetti, just as he normally is, he's on a roll. It's out number 1 now for CJ Santiago. Santiago, .271 hitter, 19 for 70. 10 RBI, 16 walks, 7 stolen bases. Had 1 hit and 1 RBI in Highland's win over Vineland on the 20th. But Santiago has been a very consistent hitter, .272 average as a junior, .271 as a senior. One ball, one strike. Ficchetti, breaking ball. That one is hit out towards right field. It's down the line, and it is out of play. Lands on top of the batting cage. But honestly, for a guy like Ficchetti, that 3-run first inning is entirely what East needed. Because yes, Vineland is a good hitting team, but throwing a guy like Ficchetti out there is just going to do so good for this East team. If they keep their defense in a row, that first inning could be very pivotal in this game. But one thing that Vineland's got to make sure that they avoid in this game is swing and misses, because Ficchetti's got a lot of break on his pitches, and it's kind of like an apple pie on a windowsill. It's something that's very enticing for these hitters, especially when they're ahead in the count. They see a pitch, they think they can drive it, and they don't. There's a ground ball. Santiago to short. Picked up, fired across the way. The throw is high, and he's safe. I think he got in there. Moyer might ask for an appeal, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere on it. The throw was a little bit wide from Connors, and that'll be a throwing error on the shortstop, as the batter will be Etheridge. Etheridge, a commit to Stockton. He'll be taking his talents to Galloway next season. Throw back to first, not in time. Let's take a look at this play, see what the court of public opinion thinks about it. I just really think that this throw was a little bit too late. I mean, he threw it up, and then I think that he's able to get under that tag if there's a strike called. So with the runner on, that'll be an E6 against East. With Etheridge, the batter, the shortstop, as he'll take another strike. Toro is on deck for the Fighting Clan. Etheridge, another senior, .338 hitter, a career .267 hitter. Throwback not in time. This year, 25 hits, 18 RBIs, 3 extra base hits. He has 27 stolen bases, and he had 22 as a junior. Not often do you see a guy with such elite speed batting third in the order. But Kyle Jones using his priorities a little bit differently with a guy like Etheridge, because you know that he can get on. I mean, there's not too many guys in South Jersey who have the combination of both batting average and speed. So you're kind of at an impasse of where you want to put him. That one misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Etheridge. It'll be Mario Toro, the commit to Rowan Gloucester, on deck. Ficchetti from the stretch, jammed and foul. That was an emergency swing there from Etheridge. He did not look like he was ready. But he still made contact, and that is what kept him alive, which is admirable. But a great amount of Vineland fans making the trip up. Like I said, it's about 45 minutes from Vineland High School to get here, as this one is rolled over to second base. Not going to get the tag. They'll get the first runner. And Etheridge is retired. It moves Santiago to second base, as now Toro will be the batter. With 2 down and a runner in scoring position. I like that effort by Ryan Zwieben to make the tag, or at least try to make the tag. They did appeal back to second, and they did say that he was safe. I didn't see any contact there. So it will be a 4-3 ground out for Etheridge, and now it'll be Toro. When we saw Vineland last back on April the 8th, one of the coldest games we had covered, but Toro was red hot. He threw 6 no-hit innings in an 8-0 win over Millville, as that one fouled back. That was in the famous, maybe not famous to people outside of New Jersey, but the famous Cumberland County rivalry between Vineland and Millville. Only hit in that game was in the 7th inning off of Garrett Shapiro. Toro, big swing, fouled back, and it's 0-2. It'll be Fisher, Zwieben, and DeKerligand in the second for East. But I think it's imperative that Vineland gets at least a run here. Don't want to go down by 3. I mean, you don't want to be down by anything. But for Toro, he's got 4 home runs this year, 20 hits, and 73 at-bats, and a .274 average, as that one's away. And I will say exactly what I was talking about. Vineland has done a good job so far of laying off those pitches that break outside of the zone. You basically have to have an iris of a strike zone instead of a square, because you never know if it's going to paint the corner with Fichetti or if it's just going to drop off the table and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Honestly, I think Manzoni learned that the hard way. He swung at a really low pitch, one that actually skipped off the plate for his second strike, and then I think the other guys in the Vineland dugout picked up on that, and now they're hitting a lot better. That one is low, and that's what I was talking about. That was maybe a little bit shorter than what Manzoni swung at. But Toro, I think, also has a much better eye. He's walked 16 times this year, and in 3 of his 4 seasons in Vineland, he has walked 10 or more times per season. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fichetti misses away. And patience may be king in this game, really. Just might come down to if they can rattle Fichetti enough to put some runs on the board. If the inning continues after him, it'll be Nataya Perez for Vineland. 3-0 Cherry Hill East. 2-run triple by Ryan Moyer in the top of the first, and the payoff pitch is low and away. Fichetti a little bit frustrated, but he's reassured by his catcher. It's the first walk allowed by Fichetti. He's only walked 11 batters all season, so that is certainly going against the grain. And it shows the skill and discipline that Toro has, as Perez will be the batter for Vineland. Perez, a .250 hitter. Swing and a miss, slider away, 0-1. He's 9 for 36. He does have a home run that came in his 3rd game of the season back on April the 11th versus Washington Township. So has not left the ballpark in about a month and a half, but he'll take away. Fichetti's throwing a lot of those pitches away. It's been really interesting. He has not commanded the inside of the zone very well. He has been trying to get these right-handed hitters in these, right-on-right matchups to get swings and misses on the outside half. This one's grounded to first. Moyer steps back, foot race to the bag. This could be trouble. He dives. He's out. Bang, bang, play. And I think Perez thought he got in there, but Ryan Moyer beats him to the bag, and the inning is over. So Vineland leaves 2 runners on an E6 and a walk, but they do not record a hit. We go to the second. It's East 3, Vineland 0. show you. Top of the second inning, this broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on their first attempt. Book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, New Jersey at 614 Lambs Road, just minutes from Route 55. 7 batters came to the plate for East in the top of the first. 3 scored as a strike is called to Kyle Fisher, the DH. Low. Jammed first, foul. Townsend, though, is still working. You know, he's not deterred yet, and I think that, honestly, the way that he ended that inning in the first was a lot better, and it might have convinced Kyle Jones to let him in. I mean, he did not put his head down after Moyer had that triple, and he was able to induce a catcher's pop-out. As this ball skied on a breaking ball, right center field. This could hit the triangle. It is caught by Don Manzoni at second base. Reaches over his shoulder to make the play. That's always tough. That's the first out of the inning as Fisher pops out. Fisher, of course, a tight end on the Cherry Hill East football team. I remember he had 3 touchdowns when we covered East in what was a 42-0 win over Deptford back in October. But the batter is Ryan Zwieben. Zwieben, a sophomore, 8 for 32, 250 average. As this one is lined, look what I found. Vineland Townsend right back in the glove, and he'll make the play. That one almost threaded the needle, but Townsend makes the play, and that is out number 2. We go back to the top of the order for the Curligan. Walked, was out at home in his first at bat. That one's up, clears the backstop. 1-0. As we said, Vineland had a southpaw warming up in the bullpen, but he is no longer there. It's a 1-0. Strike called, 1-1. DeCurligan with a walk, the first of 7 batters in the first inning. One's fouled back, and it's 1-2. In the bottom of the second, for Vineland, it'll be 6, 7, and 8. Townsend, Barnhart, and Quinones. Outside. I like that backdoor slider. I'm seeing a lot of younger pitchers throw that more. Backdoor breaking ball or backdoor slider, where if it hits, you catch the outside part of the plate, and you really can't make any good contact on it. But if you miss over the middle, and that's usually a very grave mistake. Ball misses up and out. Count is full. With two down in the inning. 2 balls put in play, pop out to second base, and a grounder right back to the mound. The payoff, outside, ball 4. So DeCurligan picks up his second free pass, and that now sets up Rohan Mudathil.
Hey, 1 pitch away, let's go!
This ball's cracked to third. Toro picks it up on the bounce. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. So a clean second inning for Vineland Townsend, including a strong defensive play where he got that ball right back in his glove. We go to the bottom of the second. Cherry Hill East 3, Vineland 0. Bottom of the second inning. After what some could describe as a disastrous first inning, Vineland got their boots underneath them and threw a clean second as the ball misses high. Some out-of-town scores from the South Jersey playoff bracket. In the 15 versus 2 game in South Jersey Group 4, Toms River North is tied with Eastern 1-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kind of an interesting development. I thought Eastern would have had a much better chance in that game. And in South Jersey Group 1, Buna leads Glassboro 6-2 in the 5th inning. That's the 10-7 game. Buna is away. But not many games being played today as that ball missed outside, and it's 3-0. But for Townsend, the pitcher, oh, there's a strike called. I didn't disagree with the call. I just know Townsend did, and that bat ended up getting there. Townsend, Barnhart, and Quinones in the bottom of the second as he fouls this one off, and it's 3-2.
Hey, find a way here, baby. You go, we go. You go, we go.
This Vineland dugout is loving it. I love the energy that they bring. Just trying to stay alive here on their technically home field as that one's away. Now remember, Townsend is the pitcher and the DH in this game. So even if Townsend is taken out of the game, he would remain in the lineup, and no changes that Vineland makes in the bullpen would end up changing the batting order. So he will be courtesy run for, let's see who comes out for him. Courtesy runner will be number 4, Sincere Moore. Well, hold on. There's an East assistant coach that's, they're taking issue with something on the lineup card here. Now, that's not Jason Speller out there. I'm not sure what the issue was, but yeah, Townsend is listed as the pitcher and the DH. So even if I'm curious if they thought that maybe he wouldn't be eligible for a courtesy because he's the DH, but he's also the pitcher, which supersedes that anyway. So I'm not sure what the argument was. That one's fouled back. It's 0-1 to Ernie Bernhardt, excuse me. 12 walks, 12 stolen bases, 254 average, 15 for 59. He does have a home run this year that came in the month of May in a loss versus Gloucester Catholic. Step off by Fichetti. No balls, 1 strike to the catcher, to the right fielder as Bernhardt drops it down. This one's going to roll up the line. He'll have a play. Did he tag him? No, they're going to throw back to second. He missed the tag. Everybody's safe. That was a very close play, but I don't think that Moyer tagged him. I think that he whiffed on it. But if I'm Moyer, I let that ball go. I mean, I do not like the idea of trying to pick up that ball in the middle of its flight, because if you ask me, what you've got to do in that situation is you've just got to let it ride. If it goes foul, remember, there's no grass to sway the movement of the ball. The turf is smooth. That ball is going to continue rolling, and I think that ball would have dropped foul. I think it would have crossed over the chalk by the time it got down to first base. So while I don't blame Moyer for doing that, because that would be what you always do on a grass field, you're playing under different circumstances today in a different venue. There's the first pitch, trying to drop it down. Oh, he got hit in the face. He either got hit in the face or the helmet, but dropping down the bunt is Quinones, Isaiah Quinones. And it's 0-1. So Vineland trying to play the short game, if you will, with Fichetti on the mound. Trying to move everybody over with a bunt. Moyer's playing way up the line, and he offered at it. It's 0-2. Now he's stuck between second and third, and the ball gets away. It's down the third base line. It got bobbled by Hibbs. Now everybody moves up. That's going to be a throwing error. We've got 2 runners in scoring position here, which sets up a really interesting play for Isaiah Quinones. East got ahead of themselves there because, well, actually Vineland got ahead of themselves because I think Quinones or I should say, pardon, the runner, which is Moore. I think he thought that Quinones made contact, so he started running. That one's low. Stopped behind the plate by Longo. But what did we talk about earlier where you have a play that goes right even though it definitely shouldn't have gone right? That was exactly what that was. Because 9 times out of 10, Vineland gets caught into a rundown, and that's a big out. But this time they get away with it. I don't even think that was bad base running. I just think Moore couldn't really see where the ball was, and he was initially running. Maybe he thought he fouled it off. But everybody gets away with it, and the 1-2 from Fichetti is lined. Back up the middle, base hit, into center field. Moore scores. Bernhardt right behind him. It's cut off, 2-run single. Off the bat of Isaiah Quinones. And Vineland gets back into it. It's 3-2. Out of the bottom of the order, too, Quinones in the 8 slot, showing that anybody can do anything for Vineland. And this is going to send up Nino Torres, the center fielder. First pitch to Torres. He's going to bunt. This one goes back to the mound. Fichetti's going to throw to second. The throw is high, and he got him. I couldn't see that play. The pitcher was blocking the bag, or at least blocking our view of it. I think that he got him. That throw was a little bit high and out, but it'll be a sacrifice, an unsuccessful sacrifice. It sets up a 1-4 fielder's choice. Runner on first. 3-2 Cherry Hill East, and we go back to the top of the order for Don Manzoni. Manzoni struck out looking on 3 pitches in his first at bat. Vineland keeping their runner alert on where the ball is. That's why they're saying ball, ball, ball. They're saying, hey, first baseman's got his ball, got the ball in his hand. As that ball stroked into left field. Base hit Don Manzoni. So Manzoni puts the bat in front of it and strokes it the other way. That's a base hit that sends up Santiago now with 2 on. Tying run in scoring position here. And now East's pitching coach looks like he's going to come out and ask for time here because Fichetti, in a rare bout of adversity, I mean, obviously there's a lot of adversity in the Olympic American, but in the playoffs, everything gets turned on its head. Let's take a look at the Olympic American standings. Eastern leads at 18-8. Shawnee is 16-9. Eastern is playing Toms River North in the first round. You've got Lenape at 14-11, RV at 14-12. Their game is ongoing right now versus Southern Regional. Cherry Hill East is 13-11. Cherokee is 11-12. They will play GCIT tomorrow, with the vast majority of games getting rained out today. But what I'll tell you, that asterisk, 5 out of the 6 teams in the Olympic American are not only South Jersey Group 4 competitors, but 5 out of those 6 are competing in the playoffs. Now, out of those 5, Eastern, RV, those are the only ones that have home games, because Lenape is the 9. They're visiting Williamstown. And then Cherry Hill East is the 11. Cherokee is the 14. They are visiting GCIT, which I said on my South Jersey Starting 9 podcast yesterday, I said if you told me that Cherokee would have been the number 14 seed in Group 4 this year, I would have called you crazy. Santiago, check swing. They'll say he win, and it's 0-1. So 1 away. Runners on first and second, and the tying run in scoring position for CJ Santiago, who reached on an error. No one's away. Two hits, a walk, and a fielder's choice in the inning. Actually, 3 hits now with Manzoni's single. Base umpire just gave a warning to the Vineland dugout. State has been a lot stricter on sportsmanship rules this year, so they gave a warning saying only cheer for your own player, which we've had a lot of umpires stop the game to warn benches about it, but it seems like the issue isn't going away anytime soon. I mean, that's a discussion that could be an entire podcast episode, what goes into why teams aren't as sportsmanlike as they used to be, but the state at least is getting a tighter grip on it. They're instructing umpires to have a zero tolerance policy, basically, one warning and then that's it, which I guess wouldn't make it zero tolerance, but you get my point. It's 1 and 2. That is Corbin Chance behind the plate. Fred Morrow is your field umpire. With the train passing overhead, the 1-2 from Ficchetti. Low and away. It passes off the glove. That'll be a passed ball, and everybody advances. So that now sends the runner to third. That's Torres to third, Manzoni to second. And this could be a transformative inning for Vineland getting back into this game, when a lot of people thought, myself included after the first, that Vineland was not setting themselves up for a good night, if that was the case. But their defense held up in the second, and now their offense is getting to work here off of the future Virginia Tech commit in Ficchetti. The 2-2. Low. That is a very good take by Santiago. That was a breaking ball that just went low. I thought that was going to be more like a slider that was going to stay in the same height, but it was going to come back across the plate. It didn't. I know if I was at the plate, I would have swung at that, but great take as the 3-2. This one's grounded over the middle. It's to short. The game is tied. The runner is safe at first. Speller disagrees. It's an RBI infield single, CJ Santiago. Speller's going to want a second opinion about it, but he's going to turn back around. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. It's no replay review, but it's 3-3. We are tied up as Vineland now has 4 hits in the inning off of Mike Ficchetti. And East is wasting no time as they've got a bullpen arm up and going down the right field line. Etheridge, the batter, grounded out to second base for the second out of the first inning. Now he bunts. There's a strike called. So an RBI infield single and 3 runs across. Torres on third. Pardon. No, excuse me. I apologize. Manzoni is on third. Santiago is on first as there's a strike called to Etheridge. 0-2. Big spot here for Ficchetti. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. And that is out number 2. So here's Toro. As we said, 4 home runs for Torres this year to commit to Rowan College. With runners on the corners, Toro walked in his first at bat. Ficchetti looks over at first. Going to see in a second who's warming up over there. As this ball's cracked up the middle. That's a base hit. RBI single for Mario Toro. And Vineland has the lead. It's 4-3. What an inning it's been for Vineland. Toro just cracked the ball over the middle. And Ficchetti, who is normally a strong man on this East team, which has carried all the momentum through them in the month of May, is in a lot of trouble. The strike called. Warming up in the bullpen is number 3, Cole Haddock. This is the 9th batter of the inning in Natalia Perez. This ball's over the middle to short. Flip to second is in time. And the inning is over, but Mario Toro gives Vineland the lead in a transformative 4-run inning. As we'll go to the top of the third. How about this? Vineland, after being down by 3, turns the tables, and it's 4-3 after 2.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Ficchetti leads us off. Now, Ficchetti is listed as the pitcher in the lineup, but not as the DH. The DH in today's game is Kyle Fisher. So Ficchetti is taken out of the game. Unless he enters the game in another position, he would not be able to hit, which would be a big loss for East, which I would imagine that they have a fallback plan for. But Cole Haddock was warming up in the bullpen, again, kind of as a contingency plan, as Vineland surprised East with a 4-run inning as there's a strike called on the lower half. Ficchetti singled and scored in his first at-bat in the first. Ficchetti thought it was low, but not going to get any leeway there. It's 1-1. That one is low. By the way, another update in South Jersey Group 4. Toms River North and Eastern are tied 1-1 going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Toms River North is the 15 seed, and Eastern is the number 2. So that is a lot closer of a game than we really expected it to be. But Toms River North, a very tough South Jersey team in Shore Conference play. I don't know why they're the 15, to be honest with you. But alas, that's what it is. But several games in the bracket postponed. Kingsway and Central postponed. Lenape and Williamstown postponed. Southern and RV is playing, waiting for our correspondent to get us a score update, Rock Roberson, as that one's low. And Ficchetti walks. And now Dylan Haddock will be the batter. We will have a courtesy runner for Ficchetti, and again, it'll be number 6, Dustin Fischera. Throw back to first, not in time. To Haddock, who walked in his first at bat. East scored 3 runs. Oh, throw back to first. Runner goes back in standing, but he's safe. And now after that back pick, their pitching coach will come out and talk to Townsend. Again, we don't have anybody else warming up in the bullpen, but Tune in tomorrow for playoff action in South Jersey Group 3. What we were supposed to cover today has been moved to tomorrow, but we keep our commitment nonetheless. It'll be 12 versus 5, Morristown versus Cumberland in South Jersey Group 3 from Seabrook, with a first pitch scheduled for 1 p.m. Also on Friday, we'll let you know where we're going to be, because this could be some very complicated situations in regards to who is going to play and when. We could very well have a playoff game on Saturday at this point if that ends up being the case, that enough teams from Wednesday that got rained out wanted to play Saturday. So Haddock dealing with a runner on first, counts 1-0. Townsend still in it, but now that Vineland has the lead, they're looking to ride with him a little bit longer. Throw back again. This one is in time. Caught him sleeping. Took way too big of a lead at first base. And Cherry Hill East pays for it dearly. So that is out number 1. This ball's fouled back. Haddock and then Brody Connors for the Cougars. Up and out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Apologies, 3 balls, 1 strike. Townsend, strike called at the knees. I mean, Haddock disagrees with it, but that's a strike all day. I mean, conventionally the strike zone top to bottom goes from the letters of your jersey, just about, to the top of your knees. It's ball 4. And then you go edge of the plate to edge of the plate for inside and outside. But a little bit of trouble here as Townsend has walked 2 batters, but he got a little bit of a reprieve as he was able to get 1 picked off, with the batter now being Connors. Here's Connors, the shortstop, called a strike on the inside. Have not seen that a lot. Actually, no, that's not true. I've seen that a lot more from Townsend in comparison to Ficchetti. He's thrown a lot of pitches inside compared to Ficchetti that really likes to work the outside part of the plate. Which, to be fair, is a philosophy that flies a lot more in college than it does in high school. Aiming the ball in the outside half, trying to get those big swings and misses, which is why he's got 66 strikeouts. There's a swing and a miss. It's 0-2. One thing to note, though, despite the fact that these 2 pitchers have a combined 129 strikeouts between them going into this game, Ficchetti only has 2 strikeouts, and Townsend has not struck out anybody yet so far. That one gets away, ricochets off the backstop. It's picked up by Quinones, who fires a ball. Oh, no. He should have held on to that. That goes into center field. It'll be a throwing error. That runner was maybe 10 feet from the bag when he threw the ball. I mean, maybe not that close, but that's a situation where you're not going to have that play, and I don't even think that Etheridge was ready to pick up that ball. So Quinones throws the ball away, and it moves the runners up. The runner up. As with the runner on third, that one is in the left field, a base hit. Tie game. That throwing error proved to be costly as Brody Connors with an RBI single puts the runner on first, and it's 4-4 in the third. RBI single by Brody Connors just got through the 5-6 gap between Toro and Etheridge, and we are tied at 4 apiece, with the batter being Moyer, who had a 2-run triple to center field back in the first inning. And that was a play where Torres misplayed the ball, had it about straight away and then turned around, realized he was too far gone, and the ball got over his head. Jam shot, and it somehow is fair. How did that ball stay fair? It'll be Connors to third, Moyer to second. He's safe at third as the ball skips in, as a shot down the line picked up some chalk, and more importantly, picks up 2 bases. Ryan Moyer, 5 total bases in his first 2 at-bats, and it puts the go-ahead run at third. As this game just a roller coaster so far. Neither team has been able to stay ahead for too long. If you're just joining us, 4-4 game, 2 runners in scoring position as Townsend with the infield in gives the first pitch strike to Stephen Longo, the catcher. Longo popped out to the catcher to end the inning in the first. Cherry Hill East scored 3 runs in the top of the first. 2-run triple by Ryan Moyer. Vineland responded with 4 runs in the bottom of the second that included 5 hits. 2-run single by Isaiah Quinones, another RBI single by Santiago, and another by Toro. And now East has tied the game with a chance to get things back going again. Longo, a .286 hitter. Yes, 286, 18 for 63. Strike is called. He's 2 home runs this season. His 2 home runs came versus Lenape back on May the 18th and Eastern on April the 13th. So his last home run was not too long ago, but it is quite difficult to get the ball to get out at this ballpark, especially to left field. It's not that difficult if you're going the other way to right field. The 311 short porch and the Tart Monster that separates the street beneath it from this field. Townsend ready. Infield in. Middle infield. Not really committing to it as there's a swing and a... Did he make contact? No, he didn't. And he's safe. Corbin Chance made a great call that time as Corbin Chance immediately signaled that there was no contact made. I am confused as to why the catcher tagged home plate, but because there was no, unless the runner came, there was no play at the plate, but they let him go for a dropped third strike. It's Townsend's first of the game. We have a runner for Longo. It's number 7, Sean Tishy. And the bases are loaded for Cherry Hill East in the top of the third with 1 away, which was a pickoff move at first against Dustin Fischera. Low. Still trying to figure out. Let's take a look here after the pitch. 4-4 game. Great crowd on hand here in Camden as the 1-0. This ball is shot out towards right center field. This could drop, and it's caught. Sliding in is Bernhardt. He'll have a throw. Santiago cuts it off, and Cherry Hill East takes the lead again. It's 5-4. A sacrifice fly to right field off the bat of Fisher. A sliding catch by Barnhart. An excellent effort by the right fielder to retire Fisher, but it's a sac fly. It puts runners on first and second. It scores Connors from third. Moyer on second. They're going to appeal the third, and he's safe. I believe they thought that the runner left early, but I didn't have a good angle of that. 2 away. Let's take a look here. That is Jake Garton, the left-hander, warming up. Garton's a very popular name in Vineland. There's the Summer League team that competes in the Tri-County Baseball League, the Gartons of Vineland, based after Garton Rigging, I believe is the name of the brand. As that one's up to Ryan Zwieben. Not to mention Lucas Garton, the left-hander who is competing in the NCAA regionals at Ryder, one of 9 South Jersey players that are on that rider team. New Jersey's only team to be in the field of 64 to compete for a spot at Omaha. The 1-0. This ball is grounded out to short. Etheridge sliding play from his pants. He got him! What a play! Xavier Etheridge with a fantastic sliding play, and before he could even fully stand, he throws out the runner from deep in the hole. A fantastic play that really could have been a lot worse. As we go to the bottom of the third inning, it's Cherry Hill East 5, Vineland 4. They take the lead, but another couple of runs could have came in if not for this defensive effort on your replay presented by Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Bottom of the third, apologies. 5-4 Cherry Hill East. Here from Camden Athletic Complex, Camden, New Jersey, just beneath the Ben Franklin Bridge. As this ball is roped into right by Townsend, and it is caught. That ball was golfed, but DeCurligan came down with it. Hey, that was good contact there. I mean, Townsend, if you're able to hit balls that low in the zone and hit it with that kind of force, then that's really good. But just found the glove of DeCurligan, and that now sends up Ernie Bernhardt with one away in the third.
See it, babe, see it.
0-1. Cherry Hill East, the 11 seed in this bracket, as there's a swing and a miss. 0-2 here. That one is low. We do have a final in South Jersey Group 1. 10-seed Buna has upset 7-seed Glassboro by a score of 8-2. As the 1-2 is a strike three called outside corner. It's Ficchetti's first strikeout. Shocking for a guy with 66 Ks to take 2 1/3 innings for his first. I'm sorry, that's his third of the night. I was looking at Vineland Townsend's, but still, he hasn't had as many as we would have expected. And considering that Townsend has had 9 strikeouts on 3 different occasions, all versus solid teams. Oh, that ball, oh no, that goes right through the legs of Hibbs. That'll be a fielding error. And that puts Isaiah Quinones on first. Second time the catcher has reached base, and they'll have another runner for him. The courtesy for Vineland will be number 35, Zach Cruz, a junior. And the batter will be Nino Torres. Reached on a fielder's choice. It was a bunt attempt that squared back to the pitcher. Had a little bit too much sauce on it. And Ficchetti threw out the lead runner at second to negate the sacrifice, as that one's high. It's 1-0. Cherry Hill East 5, Vineland 4, but Vineland coming off of a 4-run frame in the bottom of the second. Here's a bunt. Back to the mound. Ficchetti's going to have a tough play. Squares, fires, throws away. Gets down the line. It might have made contact with Moyer's glove. It's picked up by the second baseman in Zwieben, who's able to save it, but now you've got runners on the corners after what will now be the second straight error by Cherry Hill East and their third of the game. This has just been a defensive performance to forget for one of South Jersey's rising programs. Like we said, on April the 27th, Cherry Hill East was 2-9, and they were third from the bottom in power points for Group 4. Now, of course, they play in a very difficult division in the Olympic American. So does Vineland. They play in the Cape Atlantic American, but if I can tell you a difference between Cherry Hill East and Vineland, we mentioned it before with the Olympic American standing showing on the right side of your screen. 5 of the 6 teams competing in the Olympic in which Cherry Hill East plays are competing in the South Jersey Group 4 playoffs. The only one that isn't is Shawnee, which is the 6th seed in Group 3. But in the Cape Atlantic side, you have St. Augustine, Mainland, Cedar Creek, Vineland, Ocean City, Hamilton, and Millville. Vineland is the only Cape Atlantic American team competing in this Group 4 tournament. That one is low. But taking a look at those standings again, you've got St. Augustine, which is a non-public, top 5 team in the state perhaps. Mainland, which is the number 7 seed in Group 3. Cedar Creek, which is, I can't remember what seed they're at, but the runner goes. This one's high. Longo's going to backpick to third. He won't have a play. And the runner steals second safely. So here's your outlook. You got Torres on second. You've got Cruz on third. With a 2-0 count, Manzoni's got a lot of work to do. He's 1 for 2. He is a single, but a base hit can tie or give Vineland the lead. That one's high, 3-0, misses at the letters. But looking one more time, Cedar Creek in third, Vineland in fourth. Ocean City is the 14 seed in Group 3, and then Hamilton is the 13 seed in Group 3. Millville, I believe, either missed the playoffs or I'd have to look at that bracket again to see where they're at. But a big swing and a miss by Manzoni. Oh, strike 3 called. That one just sat back in the zone, and Facchetti picks up his 4th strikeout as Vineland takes advantage of some bad defense as they reach on 2 errors but fail to score. We're through 3 here at Camden Athletic Complex. It's East 5, Vineland 4.
Book Dog Pro Wrestling for your next event or outing for the greatest action that New Jersey Pro Wrestling has to offer. Any place, any time, any setting, Dog Pro Wrestling will bring the action to you, and you won't want to miss it for moments like this. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestling ambassador.
This is Max Mundo with Dog Pro Wrestling. Are you a civic organization, sporting club looking to fundraise? Then look no further to Dog Pro Wrestling. We do grand openings, corporate events, and much more.
And why not from some of the wrestling talent themselves?
I'm Vinny the Fixer, and I'm the champion of dog professional wrestling. If you want to book the best, come see us. We're the cream of the crop. We'll come to any fundraiser you can think of. Just name the place and we'll show up.
This is the upstanding Dylan Mesh, and for the entirety of my professional wrestling career, dog wrestling has been a mainstay for where I like to wrestle. So you can believe me when I say that it is quality. And I'm upstanding. I'm the only opinion you need.
Yeah! It's your boy Gabriel Hodder here with my man Matthew Oman, and if you want your events to be all fight, no flight,
then book Dog Wrestling so you can witness true primal fear. Woo!
Welcome back. New pitcher for Vineland. It is the left-hander Jake Garton. 38 innings for the Southpaw this year, 46 Ks, 20 walks. a 3.13 ERA at a 2.47 mark as a junior last year, but he gets a lefty-lefty matchup to start with DeCurligand. DeCurligand is 0 for 0, 2 walks. Has not scored on either of them, as that's high. 2 balls, no strikes. DeCurligand, Mutathil, and Facchetti in the 4th inning for East in a 5-4 game. From the edge of the rubber, Garton misses low. Hits Quinones in the chest. But if you're unfamiliar with this ballpark and the history behind it, because there are some people who were asking me, about parking and whatnot and everything else because they hadn't been here before, I'll catch you up to speed a little bit. So many people are familiar about the Camden River Sharks. That is where this field stood from 2000 to 2015. A lot of people forget the River Sharks were only around for 15 seasons. But as is the case with Atlantic League Baseball and really all independent leagues as a whole, sometimes funding ends up becoming an issue. And I think, as that one's high, that'll be, what's the count here? Must be 3-1, I think. I apologize. I think I missed one there. But lefty-lefty matchup. It is 3 balls, 1 strike with Mutathil on deck. Garton delivers, and a swing and a miss. He got him. First strikeout for Garton, and there's one away. So that will bring up Mutathil, the center fielder. But yeah, this ballpark stood for 15 years as Campbell's Field. It was the 2nd largest attendance capacity of 6,000 in the Atlantic League when it stood. But then, to make a long story short of it, Camden in the early 2010s really didn't want the baseball team there because there would be a lot of congestion in the city between the BB&T Pavilion, as which it was called at the time, and it was the Susquehanna Bank Center and whatnot. As there's a ground ball by Mutathil to third. Toro is there. Throw to first is in time, and there's 2 away. And the batter will be Facchetti. But the River Sharks eventually fold in 2015 at the end of their season, in which they had done actually quite well in their last season. But the unfortunate reality is in independent league baseball, the finances do not care about how good the team is because, let's be honest, a lot of fans are attending independent league baseball games for a night out with the family or just to watch a game. I don't think if the Phillies were a 100-loss team, less people would show up to the games. But if the River Sharks were a 100-loss team, it probably wouldn't affect attendance too much one way or another because people care more about the experience than the actual players and the play. There's a strike called to Facchetti. But this ballpark was originally supposed to be a parking lot which would serve as a shuttle for the pavilion, the waterfront pavilion, and the Adventure Aquarium. As Facchetti golfs one to left field, this ball is down the line and fair. It hits off the 330 sign in left. Facchetti on his horse to second. He'll stop there. That's a big double for Facchetti. Took a ball low and inside. That was just like Valin Townsend did in the bottom half of the inning. Took a pitch low. And this time, Facchetti gets a hit out of it, so he gets a 2-out double. And this will now bring up Haddock. But the original plan once Campbell's Field was demolished in 2016 was to have this be a massive parking lot from the edge of the street to the other edge of the street 2 blocks away and be a massive service lot for the aquarium and the waterfront. But then some bright minds came together and said, well, why don't we give back to the community? That's exactly what they did. This ballpark was, it broke ground in 2019. It was supposed to open in 2020, but COVID delayed everything, and Rutgers Camden played their first game here in 2021. They actually split their time between a park in Camden and this field while it was still under construction. There's a strike called. 1-1 to Haddock. Haddock took a ball right down the middle, just like DeCurligand before him. 0 for 0, 2 walks. Has not taken the bat off his shoulders yet. Except for now. Floater in the right field. This ball's going to drop. Bernhardt's going to have a play. Green light from Speller. Here comes the throw. It is not in time. RBI single off the bat of Dylan Haddock, pardon. It's a base hit that extends Cherry Hill East's lead to 6-4. So Haddock reaching base for the third time. Scores Ficchetti's runner in Fischera from second. And it's now 6-4 Cherry Hill East here in the 11-6 game of South Jersey Group 4. That ball is laced on the first pitch. Etheridge has it. Play at second is in time. Oh, little collision there. And apologies from the runner. He didn't mean that at all. It wasn't a Chase Utley situation, but we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. As we'll talk about that in a second, because that actually is an interesting phenomenon, but East adds a run. It's 6-4.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
Bottom of the fourth inning. The batter is Santiago. Santiago, Etheridge, and Toro. 2, 3, and 4. And with East now having the lead, Ficchetti is still in the game. Cole Haddock waiting in the wings in case he's needed. He's standing at the edge of the dugout. No glove on, but would assume he's prepared as a strike is called. Cut fastball in the inside half. And it's 0-2. Ficchetti's 0-2. Jammed to right field. Actually over to first base. It's in foul grounds, and Moyer, with a hop, skip, and a jump, makes the play. It's out number 1. But what I was pointing out earlier, there was a little bit of a collision there with the runner at second base. I'm pretty sure that was Dylan Haddock. What happened there was when Haddock was sliding into second base, you saw the collision, and he kind of accidentally took out Xavier Etheridge, and I heard some folks groaning about it and like, oh, what are you doing? But I think what it comes down to is that East probably has not played a lot of games this season, or at least in recent memory, on a turf field. There's a swing and a miss by Etheridge. Time is called. And we're going to have an offensive timeout here as Kyle Jones is going to talk to Etheridge. But when Haddock slid into second base, you have to remember, as a baseball player, a lot of things are muscle memory. I have to swing at this point in the delivery. I have to slide at this point when I'm, say, 8 feet from the bag or 10 feet from the bag, because the momentum is going to carry you into the base. Well, on a dirt field, when you're – oh, look out. That ball just went into the East dugout. It somehow didn't hit anybody, and it hit off the back wall, and it's a 1-2. But remember, the muscle memory is what determines that, as that one's away. So when Haddock slid into second base, he's probably sliding with the mentality and sliding with the thought that he's going to wind up at the base because of, that hit him right in the back. He'll be hit by a pitch, and that's going to bring the tying run up in Toro. But I think what it is that on a turf field, you do have to slide a little bit earlier. And if you're not used to that, we don't see that happen too much at the college level, but I see it a ton at the high school level. Not in a situation like that with oversliding causing collisions, but in a scenario where somebody just generally overslides the bag. Because, again, these players are so used to and their mindset is locked in playing on a dirt field. You have to slide at a certain point. When Haddock slid into second base, it wasn't intentional. He just was sliding with the mentality that he was on a dirt field and that the momentum and the friction would stop him. Toro takes a strike. Toro steps back into the box after a pickoff attempt. Big swing. Toro chased it, and it's 0-2. Score update from South Jersey Group 4. RV has beaten Southern by a score of 1-0. RV was the 4 seed. They broke a streak in which they were the top 4 seed in the last 2 seasons, but lost both times as an upset at home in the first round. Varon Delval had the game-winning double. Ground ball to third. Nice scoop without being able to look at it. Toro is out. It moves Etheridge to second. There's 2 away now for Perez. I don't know if you saw that, but Jackson Hibbs had to look away from the ball because he wasn't really sure where it would come up. He ended up picking up the scoop. Really picked it fantastically. But like we said, RV 2 years ago was the 1 seed in South Jersey Group 4. They dropped one of the most shocking upsets in recent memory, as there's a strike called. They lost to Atlantic Tech, the 16 seed, in a game where RV committed 10 errors in the field. Last year wasn't any better. They were the 3 seed. They lost at home to GCIT, which was the 14 seed at the time. Fly ball to right. This one's hit pretty deep. This one's down the line. Going back to Kergeland. It is foul. A little bit too much wind on that ball, and that would have been extra bases for Perez, but instead he'll go back to the box with an 0-2 count. But, yeah, in that RV game, again, they were the 4 seed, so they were able to avoid a 3rd straight upset by beating Southern. But Facchetti ahead in the count with a runner on second as Vineland tries to close the gap. It'll be 6, 7, and 8. Moyer, Longo, and Fisher in the 5th inning. Swing and a miss. He got him. And the inning is over. Facchetti, 5 strikeouts, and we'll go to the 5th. East 6, Vineland 4. Well, that noise that you heard flying over at the end of the inning, there's a helicopter. You can see somebody is getting off of it. Now, that is the one Cooper building. It is not Cooper Hospital. I believe it's a water building as this ball's hit out to center field. It's hit pretty deep. It is one hopped. It's off the bottom of the wall. This will be extra bases for Moyer. He'll get in there. 3 hits, 3 extra base hits. No problem for the first baseman, Ryan Moyer. And a big hit gives Cherry Hill East an advantage here in the top of the 5th. As it'll now be Longo. 0 for 2, pop out and a strikeout in which he reached on. It was a dropped third strike. Garton's first pitch. This one's grounded to short. Etheridge picks it up. Oh, we've got a rundown here. Runner didn't commit to going, and he got him. That's a tough break for Cherry Hill East. I don't know why you wait until that ball leaves the shortstop's hand to start running. But Moyer got caught between second and third, and props to Etheridge, had a little bit of trickery on that play, and he gets the first out as he gets the lead runner. There's another helicopter flying over, but this one, that is a Cooper helicopter that's flying overhead, and it's flying a little bit higher up. That's got to be a difficult approach, though, for the helicopter that landed on top of the building because you're going over the bridge. As here's a bunt. Oh, Garton, trouble with it. No play. Everybody's safe. A bunt. Fisher goes all the way down the line. And a bunt right back to the mound puts runners on first and second with 1 away. Those blades are speeding up. That helicopter is going to get ready to fly off again. Strike called to Zwieben. He's 0 for 2, 2 groundouts. Time called. Garton looks back, and the pitch. Right side of the infield is further in. I think they're expecting a double play ball to roll the other way. It's 1-1. But quite the crowded night here in Camden. An excellent crowd on hand, and I give props to the Vineland folks. They have committed to making the trip. As a good stop by Etheridge. That ball was spiked by Garton. And that helicopter is gonna take off again. Quite the impressive thing. This ball skied out towards right, down the line. This could be a tough play. Might not have a play, and it hits the net, out of play. And just to think, as that helicopter flies overhead, with Christopher Sanchez becoming the all-time leader for the Phillies in consecutive scoreless innings, the record that he broke was from 1911 with Grover Cleveland Alexander. And in 1911, that was only 8 years after the Wright brothers took their flight. I don't know why I thought of that, just putting a little bit of things in perspective for Christopher Sanchez. As here's the 2-2. Ground ball out to second. This is a high chopper. Tough play. He falls, and he's not going to make the play. The ball is loose in the infield. Coming in, the runner scores. Everybody's got to eat that baseball as Sean Tishley comes in as the courtesy runner. Everybody is safe. It looks like that the second baseman, Manzoni, lost his balance, and East makes it 7-4. Runners on first and second. as we go back to the top of the order for DeKerligand in a lefty-lefty matchup. I'm going to score that an error on the second baseman. I think that it wasn't 100% ordinary effort, but he definitely could have gotten a play for one. He just lost his balance and couldn't make the play. So DeKerligand, 2 walks and a strikeout as the Camden dirt bikes pass by. Nothing new. It's about guaranteed for a night game you're going to see them. As the 1-0, swing and a miss. By the way, not South Jersey, but we have a massive upset in Central Jersey Group 2. Holmdel upset Rumson Fairhaven as the 16 seed by a score of 1-0. A 2-hit shutout by Holmdel's pitcher, and in a bracket buster in Central Group 2, the Hornets of Holmdel will advance to the second round. Throw back to second, another spike by Garton, not in time. Stepped off the mound well, though. One ball, one strike from Garton to DeKerligand. At the missed that time, 2-1. Maybe that was a little bit outside. There's a strike called. Very similar spot there. It's 2-2. By the way, update from South Jersey Group 4. Eastern has avoided their upset. They walked off Toms River North, the 15 seed, by a score of 2-1. Anthony Cataldo won it on a game-winning sacrifice fly that scored Carson Michalski. The 2-2. Low. That ball bounces in front of DeKerligand, and picking it up is Bobby Quinones. As it's 3-2. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about out-of-town scores when 80 or 90% of the games have been canceled today, and they'll be played tomorrow. That'll be quite interesting, though, seeing how that plays out. Swing and a miss. He got him. Strikes out DeKerligand's second strikeout for the leadoff man, and that is out number 2. So the batter will be Rohan Mutathil, the center fielder, who is 0 for 3. A fly out and 2 groundouts for the center fielder. Strike called, inside corner to Mutathil. We do have an out-of-town final in South Jersey Group 2. Seneca, the 5 seed, beat Lower Cape May, the 12 seed, by a score of 11-6. Lower Cape May had a 3-run home run in the final inning, but was unable to top Seneca, a 2-time sectional champion in 2023 and 2024. Fouled back. So as we said, for Jake Garton, younger brother of Lucas Garton, a left-hander at Ryder, which is competing in the NCAA regionals starting tomorrow, I believe. Can't remember for the life of me who they're playing, but the 4-team regional, Ryder won the MACC, or MAAC, pardon, the Mid-Atlantic American Conference, which apparently is getting a new name soon, but curveball missed upstairs to Mutathil, and it's going to be 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A run home for East and 2 runners on. A chance to really get this game into Cougars' favor. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jake Garton, and he gets out of the jam with only 1 run allowed. Another error costs Vineland in the inning, but this has not been the cleanest game defensively for either team, and honestly, both of them are at fault. It's time for Vineland to get the bats warm, though. It's 7-4. Cherry Hill East leads going to the bottom of the 5th. Welcome to the Camden Athletic Complex. We've got Cherry Hill East 7, Vineland 4, bottom of the 5th inning. The batter leading off is Valen Townsend, who golfed the ball in his last at bat. I mean, he hit that one really low in the zone, but he made some very solid contact and flew out to right field. The 0-1 from Fichetti. Ground ball out to second. High chopper, tough play. Throw from the backhand is in time. And a 4-3 ground out initiated by Ryan Zwieben is out number 1 in the 5th inning. Batter is Ernie Bernhardt, the right fielder, who's 1 for 2, single and a strikeout to his name. One ball, no strikes. That ball missed low. That one missed. 2 balls, no strikes to Barnhart. Fichetti with the breaking ball catches his own, 2-1. Bernhardt, donning the number 0. A utility man for this program, but in right field today, as there's a jam shot. Oh my goodness, Fichetti dove on top of the mound. Underhand flip is in time. And talk about an unlucky shot as Michael Fichetti lays out on top of the mound and makes a fantastic play for the second out of the inning. This now brings up Isaiah Quinones. That was fantastic from Fichetti. Ball missed, 1-0. In the top of the 6th for the Cougars. It'll be 3, 4, and 5. Fichetti, Haddock, and Connors. Big swing, big miss, 1-1. Quinones, 2-run single in the second inning. The 1-1. This ball's cracked out towards right field. It's going to be straight away. Actually, this is going to come in pretty shallow, but making the play is DeKergelin, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 for Fichetti, but how about this play? A diving stop back in front of the mound. You don't see this very often, but the athleticism of the D1 prospect in Fichetti, I mean, he might have lost his footing there, but he still dove for the ball, still made the play, and the inning ends on that note. We go to the 6th, 7-4, Cherry Hill East. top of the 6th inning. I'm Dan Wilkins here at the Rutgers-Camden Ballpark, Camden Athletic Complex. We'll be at Morristown versus Cumberland tomorrow, 1 p.m. start. Should be a fun one. And then Friday is to be determined. It'll depend on Thursday's results. And honestly, I'm not sure how many teams will be willing to play back-to-back playoff games on back-to-back days. But the bottom line is we're probably going to have a playoff game every day through Saturday this week. Low and in to start the inning for Moyer. Ryan Moyer has been, this is Ficchetti, 3, 4, and 5. Ficchetti, Haddock, and Connors. But Ryan Moyer is a strong contender for player of the game. 3 hits, 2 doubles, and a triple, all extra base knocks. 2 runs, 2 RBIs to go along with that as well. Strike called. 2 balls, 1 strike. Cherry Hill East 7, Vineland 4. Vineland has not scored since their 4-run frame in the 2nd. And they've been looking for that. They've been looking for that redemption. Because after they scored those 4 runs, I really thought that Vineland was going to run away with this. But Cherry Hill East really showing that momentum goes a long way. That's the 1-1. We mentioned it in the open, but I feel like it needs to be said again. Cherry Hill East on April the 27th was 2-9. And we're going to have a quick meeting here between Quinones and Garton. But Cherry Hill East was 2-9 entering the month of May. They played 11 games and won 9 of those 11. Their 2 losses, one to Bishop Eustis, playing up in there, or I should say playing down a division, but Bishop Eustis, a fantastic team. And then they lost to Shawnee. But they had won 9 games out of 11 in the month of May, and only 4 of those 11 games were true home games. 1 versus Cherokee, 1 versus Lenape, 1 versus RV, and 1 versus Triton. As there's a strike called, 2-2. And again, the teams that Cherry Hill East was losing to, Paula 6th, under 500. Cherokee under 500. Absegami right around 500. They played very tough teams, as all Olympic American teams do. But I think that if you ask me, I mean, again, just looking at the standings, Cherry Hill East being 2-9 wouldn't have surprised me if you looked at the standings. Eastern, Shawnee, Lenape, RV, Cherokee, all very solid programs as this ball skied by Ficchetti. Shallow right center field. This could be trouble. Bernhardt dives. The ball drops, and Ficchetti will have a base hit. So tough play in right center field. That ball really had a chance to get down ever since it hit the bat. It's a base hit for Ficchetti, his 3rd of the game. It's another contender for player of the game to have a 2-way effort. But they will take him out for another courtesy runner, and once again, it's Dustin Fischera. But yeah, their winning streak started on April the 27th when they were 2-9. They beat Morristown and Camden Catholic. They opened up the month of May with a loss, and then they riffed off 5 straight wins, including a win at the Lee Ware tournament in Woodstown. They beat Washington Township and the host Woodstown. They beat Cherokee. They run-ruled Cherokee, lost to Shawnee, and then closed out the regular season with 3 straight wins over Bridgeton, Lenape, and RV. That one's away. But why do I mention so much about how Cherry Hill East has turned the corner? Well, the inverse of that has been Vineland. They have only played 6 games in the month of May, not including today. They played their last Cape Atlantic game versus Egg Harbor. Well, they played 2 versus Egg Harbor, one on April the 30th, but then they played Clearview, lost 4-0. Clearview's the top-ranked public school in the state. I don't blame them for that. Shawnee, they beat in the Diamond. Gloucester Catholic, they lost in the Diamond. They beat Pennsville under the lights on May the 13th, and then they played Egg Harbor a second time in the Cape Atlantic League tournament. And then they lost to Highland 2-1. So to only have 6 games in a month and to go 2-4 in those 6 games after in the month of March and April you were 13-6, I had a feeling Cherry Hill East was going to make a very tough bout in this game. As that ball's lined, it's going to go right to second. Pump fake, throw to first in time, double play. Beautifully placed and an unfortunate out for Dylan Haddock, who lined it right to second base. Manzoni was right there, picked it up in the glove, and wasted no time recording the out at first. That's a 4-3 line drive double play, and it now sends up Brody Connors, the shortstop, with 2 away in the 6th. But again, I threw a lot of numbers at you, so I'll say this. This is a game of momentum. Your regular season momentum very often carries into the playoffs. So for Cherry Hill East, a team that was 9-2 in the month of May compared to a Vineland team that was 2-4 in the month of May, that matters. That absolutely matters. And Cherry Hill East is showing that they're not looking to stop anytime soon. Ball missed inside to Connors. Moyer, if the inning continues, is on deck, but it's imperative that Vineland gets out of this inning without issue, as that one's fouled back. I mean, you had a runner on, and then he immediately got out via the double play. You really don't want to start another concerning trend. Ball was picked up in left field on that line drive. Again, Morristown and Cumberland for us tomorrow. That game will be 1 p.m. The reason why it's so early is Cumberland is having their prom that night. So got to get the game in early unless you want the players showing up to meet their dates in full uniform. Might not be a good idea as the 1-1 is fouled back. That was a situation that came up yesterday with the Donovan Catholic Paul VI game. Donovan Catholic played the game at 1. They requested the game to be at 1 because of their prom. Now, they were the visiting team. And I really felt bad for them because they had to travel an hour plus from Toms River to play a playoff game. They lost said playoff game as that ball misses high, 2-2. They travel to play a playoff game over an hour. They lose. Then you've got to recoil your feelings, travel an hour on the bus back to Donovan Catholic in Toms River, unload your stuff, get everything ready, then go home and change for prom. That's not easy. To lose a playoff game and then have to go celebrate with your buddies that night. A swing and a miss. Garton picks up the strikeout, but a double play defines the inning. No harm, no foul for Vineland in the top of the 6th. They'll look to get the bats rolling as they've only got 6 offensive outs on the board. It's 7-4, Cherry Hill East. Swing and a miss to open up the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Torres, Manzoni, and Santiago. One ball, one strike to Torres, the center fielder. He's reached base twice, once on a fielder's choice and another on an error. So he's 0 for 1 officially. Swing and a miss on a ball that probably could have been outside, but he chased it, and it's 1-2. Seven to 4, Cherry Hill East. Vineland needs to get the bats going. Vineland had a great playoff run last year. Now, part of it was aided by the fact that they had to play a 14 seed in the second round, but they made it to the Group 4 semis. They beat Southern 8-2. GCIT 4-0, and they fought to the very end versus Eastern in last year's semifinal. As the 6th seed, they lost 9-6 to Eastern. Now, I think the question would have been, if Vineland wins that game, do they have a chance versus Cherokee? Knowing 2025 Cherokee with Henry Radbill and Brett Chiesa, probably not. But, I mean, considering they beat Kingsway by 10 runs in the semifinal, just goes to show how unstoppable they were last year. There's a swing and a miss. He got him. Torres goes down. It's strikeout number 6 for Fichetti. We go back to the top of the order for Don Manzoni. Cherry Hill East last year was 12-13, but they also won an upset playoff game in that bracket. They were the 12th seed, and they upset Lenape on the road by a score of 1-0. In that game, they scored their 1 run in the 2nd inning. It was an RBI off the bat of Mike Fichetti, and then they lost in the 2nd round, 14-2 to Kingsway. But that Group 4 bracket last year was weird. There were 3 double-digit seeds that made it to the 2nd round. Egg Harbor the 10, East the 12, and GCIT the 14. Breaking ball misses at the letters. That was a good call. It's 1-1. Time called. Manzoni going to, I thought he was going to tie his shoe. He's going to tie his shin guard to his cleat. That's the 1-1 from Fichetti. Strike called, and it's 1-2. But an excellent crowd on hand and an excellent crowd watching at home on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Group 4 playoffs, 1st round in South Jersey. And that one's up and out. Longo didn't help himself that time because he set up outside and then chased the glove with the pitch. He made really no attempt to frame it. I think he would have had a shot if he tried to whip it back into the center of the zone. This ball skied in the left center field. Straight away. Trailing off of it was Haddock, and he allows Mutathil the real estate to make the play. That's the 2nd out of the inning. I do like that. I think that the best course of action is if your center fielder or if your outfielder calls for the ball, I mean, the communication helps a ton. I have seen time and time again, I've seen it ad nauseum, these high school players, they don't communicate in the outfield. So they make a fly ball, they want to make the catch because it's about themselves, and then they end up running into their outfielder and getting both of them hurt. So for Mutathil to make that assertive communication, I got it, and Haddock immediately tailing off, gave him the space he needed in case he needed to make a quick play. Is that, oh no. Longo got hit. He's going to walk this off. Got hit, looked like in the ankle. Maybe in the one space where the catcher's gear doesn't protect you. Jason Speller making sure he's okay and just needed a second to walk it off. I mean, you heard the collective groans from the crowd there. Never a good feeling. But how about Mike Fichetti? 5 2/3 innings after his team was down in the 2nd. He gave up 4 runs in the 2nd. Cole Haddock was warming up in the bullpen. Jason Speller could have easily pulled the plug and said, nope, you're done. But there's a reason why this gentleman in 2027 will be headed to Blacksburg, Virginia, because he's just that good. That one misses high. It'll be 3-0. Santiago, 1 for 3. Single in the 2nd inning. There's a strike called. Two outs, nobody on. Fichetti working quickly. Oh, wow. A defensive of all defensive swings. I think Santiago's done that before in this game, too. Just really, I mean, a massively defensive swing as the count's full. Full count pitch fouled back. If the inning continues, the Stockton commit Etheridge will be after him. And in the top of the 7th for East, it will be Moyer, Longo, and Fisher, 6, 7, and 8. The 3-2. Low. Patience pays off. It's the third time Santiago's reached base, and now it'll be Etheridge in the 3 slot. I don't know Ficchetti's pitch count right now, but their coach will come out to talk to him. That's not Speller, so I don't think it's a pitching change. As we said, Cole Haddock's been warming up in the bullpen for maybe the last 2.5 years. I mean, he's been up there since the 2nd inning, and they haven't put him in the game yet, which I don't blame him, but it's a gutsy move by Speller, because if you take Ficchetti out of the game, let's flash back to the 2nd inning. If you took Ficchetti out of the game in that point when Vineland took a 4-3 lead and then put in Cole Haddock, East's bullpen doesn't have the same depth that Vineland has. So I think that if they took Ficchetti out, or didn't give him the light of day to wait another inning or so, I think that it would have been a lot different of a story, and I think Vineland would be ahead in this game, if not by several runs. But Ficchetti's ability to shut down this order while dealing with a bout of adversity is A, what Cherry Hill East needs, and B, I'm sure that's a very impressive resume for his coaches over at Virginia Tech, to fight through this adversity and to now be 4 outs away from giving Cherry Hill East its 2nd upset playoff win in as many years. Because remember, they beat Lenape on the road last season. 2024 was the last time East lost in the first round, as this ball is into center field. It smacked out of the glove of Connors. Yeah, look at Ficchetti. He's putting his hand up. He's saying, no, don't take me out. He's telling him to hold off. He's telling him he's fine. You've got to have a lot of leverage as a high school pitcher to be able to tell your coach that you're not coming out of the game. Because there's a lot of coaches that will just ignore you and take you out anyway. But Jason Speller has the confidence of his player, and we'll see if it pays off. Mario Toro, the batter. This ball is hitting the left field. It's down the line. It's fair. That might have been the wrong decision. Santiago scores. Green light for Etheridge. Throw to the plate is not in time. 2-run double Mario Toro. It's 7-6. And Vineland's within 1. So I think that, I'll just say, I don't think that that was the right call. And while he had his confidence, Speller's still out there. I don't know what his pitch count is either. So it's a 7-6 game. And they will take Mike Ficchetti out of the game, or at least, let's see here. That's what I thought they were going to do here. Yeah, so Ficchetti, the commit to Virginia Tech, comes out. He called his own number, and it ended up backfiring as a 2-run double by Mario Toro gives Vineland a little bit of life as they now make it 7-6 in the bottom of the 6th here from Rutgers-Camden. We'll be back after the break. The tying run is in scoring position when we return. In the most imperative at-bat of the game, the new pitcher will be Cole Haddock. Mike Ficchetti finishes the game with 6 strikeouts and 6 runs, 3 of them earned. He struck out 6 and allowed a grand total of 7 hits. As the batter will be Perez. Haddock comes into the game with 32 2/3 innings, 3.43 ERA, 20 walks, 33 Ks, and 47 hits. His last pitching appearance was on the 20th, East's last regular season game versus Rancocas Valley. As we said, Rancocas Valley did hold off Southern in the first round game, 1-0. Swing and a miss. Tying run is on second. There is a courtesy runner, or pardon, a pinch runner for Mario Toro. Remember, you get 1 free substitution, as we'll have an offensive timeout. The runner, come on, Corbin, head's in the way. Literally, as soon as I tried to zoom in, there we go. Literally tried to zoom in, and our good friend Corbin Chance decided he wanted a little bit of the action shot. That is Devin Ramos, which is the tying run in place for Toro. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Ficchetti, after allowing 4 runs on 5 hits in the second inning, did not allow a single hit in innings 3, 4, or 5. But just ran out of gas in the 6th, and now East, with the momentum that Vineland has, may have to pay for it. Outside, 1-2. Perez is 0 for 3. A ground out, 3 unassisted, a ground out to short, and a strikeout swinging in the 4th inning. If the inning continues after him, Ernie Bernhardt is the batter. And East will lead off with Moyer in the 7th. The 1-2, fouled back, hits the top of the net. But Cherry Hill East, who had an upset playoff win last year over Lenape in a pitcher's duel, a 1-0 game in which Ficchetti started that game as well, had another chance. But today's game may not be as forgiving if Vineland can put the bat on the baseball. Swing and a miss. He got him. Haddock with a huge strikeout, and the inning is over. A 2-run double by Mario Toro, but Haddock comes on and shuts the door in the 6th. A big strikeout at the hands of Nataya Perez, and we go to the 7th with Moyer leading us off. It's 6, 7, and 8 for Cherry Hill East as we go to the final frame of regular play. It's 7 for East, 6 for Vineland. All right, so a bit of a change here. Looks a little odd, but the new pitcher coming in for Garton. Actually couldn't catch his jersey number for a second. That will be Xavier Etheridge coming into the game to pitch. Now, the issue was, as we were coming back, was he had a hoodie on, a gray hoodie. And as is commonplace in a lot of levels of baseball, you can't have anything that is white or gray that is on your pitching sleeves. That happened with Kumar Rocker a few weeks ago with Texas, the Rangers. He was in a position where he was going to start the game, but he had a white undershirt on with long sleeves, and pretty much every baseball league has that rule. because the way that it is, it's the same reason why the Phillies were no longer allowed to hand out white rally towels at their playoff games, because, well, the color of the baseball is white, and you don't want the pitcher's sleeves to basically interfere with the baseball. So Etheridge on the mound this year, 16 2/3 innings, 8 walks, 20 Ks, 3.36 ERA for the right-hander. His last appearance was on the, it was on the 15th, that Cape Atlantic League semifinal versus Egg Harbor Township, a game that they lost 2-1. Mainland ended up beating Egg Harbor in the finale to win the tournament. I believe they scored 5 unanswered versus Egg Harbor. The batter is Moyer. He's had a day to remember, and he's now going to look for his 4th hit. Not going to get it here, though, as the throw to first is in time. Menzoni moves from short to second. Other way around. He moved from second to short, and into the game at second base is looks like number 26. That's Brandon Daniels. Or, I'd have to look at that again. It's hard to see with the jersey numbers. It's fouled back. No, apologies. That is number 36. That is Wesley Perkins, who is a freshman, coming into the game at second. I really couldn't tell with the gray on white. It's hard to see. One's up. Whoa, look out. Went behind the batter. So Moyer, before we got a chance to talk about him, he grounded out to second base, but he was 3 for 3. 2 doubles and a triple, 2 RBIs in the game. Very much could be a player of the game contender. But if East holds on, I would give the player of the game to Fichetti, but I also wouldn't because, it was part of the reason why Vineland got back into the game. That ball is crushed to left. It's going to be down the line, and it will be foul. Longo is 0 for 2. Fielder's choice in his last plate appearance, a pop out and a dropped third strike. Back in the 3rd inning. Etheridge's pitch. That ball is crushed, and this ball is foul again. This time, though, it had a lot fairer of a shot of staying fair. It'll be Fisher, the DH, in the on-deck circle. Two balls, 2 strikes. Two. Popped up. This one is way up there. Back behind the plate. This is a tough play. Oh! It runs out of play and it hits a fan in the stands down the first base line. And make sure she's okay. Yeah, I think Corbin Chance is also looking over to make sure that everybody's okay over there. No, she seems okay. Very good. And some folks checking on her, but it's always a tough play to read. That one's low and in. It's 3-2. That ball is crushed to left for a 3rd time. That's foul. He's had 3 home run swings, but all of them have trailed down the left field line. And he keeps this at bat alive. 3 balls, 2 strikes. No room to hide here, but the bases are empty, and he gets a swing and a miss. How about that? Quinones throws it to first. It's in time. There's 2 away. I would not envy the pitcher that has to strike out a guy after hitting 3 balls, maybe 300 feet or more down the left field line. It's a second out. And it now sets up Kyle Fisher to DH. But Etheridge looking for the 7th. In the bottom half of the inning for Vineland, it'll be 6, 7, and 8. Townsend, Bernhardt, and Quinones. Now that is assuming that Vineland doesn't make any pinch hitting changes in the lineup, but in a playoff game, I mean, I don't know how I would go about it, but I think Kyle Jones has the trust in his lineup. They say the batter went and it's 0-2. Valin Townsend started the game. He made it 3 innings before Jake Garton took over in the 4th, and he threw 3 as well. Jam shot, check swing, and it gets down. Very tough play over at second base, and kudos to the freshman in Wesley Perkins making the dive, but the ball was a tad too outstretched for his glove. It's Fisher's second hit in as many at-bats. He's 2 for 4 with an RBI. And it's now Zwiebin, the second baseman. It's a quick meeting between Quinones and Etheridge. So with Zwiebin, the second baseman, Etheridge, got to imagine a lot on his mind in this game. Getting out of the inning and sending this momentum over for a Vineland team in the bottom half. There's a swing and a foul, 0-1. Again, our next broadcast tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. start between Morristown and Cumberland. It's a 12 versus 5 game in South Jersey Group 3. Handful of games were postponed to tomorrow, and that was the game we had originally committed to. Throwback, not in time. And we don't know where we're going Friday. Just putting that out there. No clue where we're going Friday yet. Here comes a strike. The throw is high. It goes into center field. Perkins tried to get that one down, but normally that's not the second baseman's job to cover the bag. So I think there was a miscommunication on Vineland's part there because the shortstop didn't go to cover when the runner stole. There is another left-hander warming up for the Fighting Clan in the bullpen down the left field line, but it's a stolen base for Fisher. Here's a 1-1. To Zwiebin, who's 0 for 3. 2 ground outs, and he's reached on an error. Now time is called. Big swing and a miss. Etheridge with a big strikeout. Gets Zwiebin to waver and miss. But it now turns to the Vineland Bats in the bottom of the 7th inning. They need 1 run to tie, another to win. It's Cherry Hill East 7, Vineland 6, going to the bottom of the 7th. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Valen Townsend, the sophomore, will come to bat. 6, 7, and 8. Vineland trails by 1 run in the bottom of the 7th inning of the South Jersey Group 4 first-round playoff game. Strike is called by Haddock, 0-1. Cherry Hill East is looking for their second upset playoff win in as many years. They beat Lenape as the 12th seed last year, and they're going to say he win. It's 0-2. But they beat them 1-0 and then lost to Kingsway in the second round. It's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Haddock with a big strikeout. And that's going to be hard to rebound from, because as much as the final out is important, your first out is just as important. And I think that this sends Cole Haddock's confidence through the roof. There's another strike called, just like that. Cherry Hill East, if they win today, will have won 10 games in their last 12 contests. Zizzer line drive, can of corn right to second, taken by Zwieben. And there's out number 2, only 5 pitches. And we're already down to the last out. Cole Haddock will face Isaiah Quinones, who had a 2-run single in the second inning. There's a strike call. Vineland made the Group 4 South semis last year. They beat Southern and GCIT to get there. But now they risk, for just the second time in the Kyle Jones era, losing in the first round. There's a swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Can Cole Haddock complete the 7th without throwing a ball? Let's see what he can do. Everyone standing on the first base dugout, and it's outside, 1-2. Everybody in the East dugout thought it was a call. Chance just walked out in front of the mound. I don't know what he was doing, but Haddock, he's not wasting any time. He's 1 pitch away. The 1-2. Outside, 2-2. I mean, Cherry Hill East was standing outside of the dugout, and they all started to run out onto the field, but they didn't get it. 2-2, Haddock. Fly ball, right center field. Mudathil's going under it, ranging to his left. He makes the catch, and for the second time in a row, Cherry Hill East upset winners. 7-6 win. Cole Haddock with the final 4 outs. And Cherry Hill East keeps the momentum coming. Their 10th win in the month of May, after being 2-9 in the month of April. The comeback kids, Cherry Hill East, have upset the Vineland Fighting Clan by a score of 7-6 in the first round of South Jersey Group 4. Only 11 pitches gets the job done for Cole Haddock, as a fly ball off the bat of Isaiah Quinones ended the game. And a heartfelt moment, because in the jaws of victory is the agony of defeat. And while Cherry Hill East will take the trip back to the east side of town and celebrate, this Vineland Fighting Clan has a much longer drive and a much more somber one. Your player of the game will go to Ryan Moyer. Had 3 hits in the game, 2 RBIs. And while everybody on Cherry Hill East did their job, I think that he was the one that instrumentally helped Cherry Hill East get back on their feet. Because Mike Ficchetti did a great job on the mound. I will say that for what it's worth. He threw 5 2/3 innings and ended up getting the win. But you wouldn't have thought that looking at the score, because he gave up 6 runs and 4 of them were earned. With all due respect to Ficchetti, I don't give him the player of the game in the sense that I think that he stayed out a little bit too long, and Vineland made the game a lot closer than I had expected for that reason. But look at this. A mob scene over in right field, as for the second year in a row, Cherry Hill East is moving on. They upset Lenape last year. They upset Vineland this year. And now their fate will be determined in the second round of South Jersey Group 4. The bracket goes as follows. We mentioned a lot of games are being more or less postponed to tomorrow, so we won't know most of the matchups until Thursday night. but the games that we do have, RV beat Southern 1-0, and Eastern beat Toms River North by a score of 2-1. As far as we're concerned, every other game in the bracket got canceled. That's Kingsway Central, Lenape Williamstown, EHT Washington Township, GCIT Cherokee, and Howell Pennsauken. So to make a long story short, the winner, as in Cherry Hill East, will face the winner of GCIT and Cherokee, which if Cherokee upsets GCIT, another high-rising team, you could have a 14 versus 11 in the second round, and that would be chaos central in Group 4. But before we sign off, I'll say something about this game. This was a game that really showed that momentum means everything in baseball, because Vineland only played 6 games in the regular season in the month of May. And 3 of those 6 games were tournament games. They played 2 in the Diamond Classic, they played another in the Cape Atlantic tournament, and then they played 3 other games. They lost to, I want to say it was Highland, they beat Pennsville, and they lost to Clearview. Now, Clearview I can excuse entirely. That was a big loss to a big opponent, and Clearview is one of the best teams in South Jersey. They're number 1 in Group 3 for a reason. But for Vineland, I just have to imagine for Cherry Hill East to play that many more games and to play that tough of competition, again, looking at the standings here, 5 out of the 6 teams that Cherry Hill East has to play twice a year play in South Jersey Group 4. Meanwhile, for Vineland, they don't have any. St. Augustine is non-public A. Mainland is Group 3. Cedar Creek is Group 3. Vineland's the only Group 4. Ocean City is Group 3. Hamilton is Group 3. And Millville is Group 4, but they missed the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line for Cherry Hill East. And as they will either travel to GCIT in Sewell or host Cherokee, the bottom line is the black and red came out on top in a 7-6 victory. That'll be all for us tonight on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Caleb Lane, Carson Rosso, and Fisher Giannotti, as it's a photo opportunity on the field. My producer, Don Wilkins. I am Dan Wilkins. We'll see you tomorrow at Cumberland Regional High School in Seabrook, New Jersey, in Cumberland County. The 12-seed Morristown Quakers will visit the Cumberland Colts, the 5-seed. That'll be all for us tonight. Have a good one, folks.